In this video I'm going to be unboxing Games Workshop's Cursed City. Fans, Robin here and back in the garage. Haven't been in the garage for ages, mainly because it's been too cold and there just hasn't been much to do. I haven't been able to meet up with Pete and there hasn't been a lot going on the hobby side of things. I've been doing a lot of painting, but today we are very excited because we have been sent a copy of Warhammer Quest Cursed City, which is probably the highlight of my year so far. I was so pleased when I got the email to say this was going to arrive. Never quite know with Games Workshop, we were kind of on the fringes of getting stuff, and we got so one of these and we're really grateful for that. So thank you very much, Games Workshop. We're really looking forward to playing this game. Of course, I'm not quite sure when we're going to be able to play two-player games. I mean, I think it's probably going to be the week beginning the 17th of May. We're looking forward to that. Everybody's looking forward to that, which is going to be great. Maybe I'll get some solo plays done between now and then. I've got an awful lot of painting to do between now and then, unless maybe I do a drive-by at Pete's house, throw some miniatures across. But I'm going to do a quick unboxing of this. I'm going to do a quick just me to you, to me, look at it now, and then I'll try and do a top-down. Literally this came Thursday afternoon, so I've got like Thursday, Friday, the preview Saturday, so then they can go out. I'll try and do a top down and have a little look at the concurrents. There's not a lot to tell, obviously. Games Workshop haven't already been told. They've been plugging this stuff away on Warhammer community for an awful long time. So you probably know most of it. Anyway, we'll have a little look. I'll try and have a go at assembling the miniatures. I'm like worst miniature assembler person in the world. So I'm like the benchmark test for if I can do it, it's okay. So I'm kind of like that lowest common denominator on the assembly. So I'll try and assemble a couple of the models so I can report back and see how that went. That may have to be a separate video because I say I'm very short of time because it's Good Friday tomorrow, so the kids are off and all that jazz. So we'll see how we go. But anyway, so Cursed City. I mean, I actually have to say, I think the box art is great. It's kind of quite, I think, deviates from Games Workshop's normal kind of box art. But that said, it is reminiscent of the Blackstone Fortress, which I don't have with me, but it is reminiscent of the Blackstone Fortress one in the sense that it's different and kind of eerie and I think muted tones. But it's a really nice thing. It almost harkens back to the old Ian Miller, was it? That kind of two-tone colour or three-tone colour pictures, and that kind of obviously sort of gothic-y feel to it. It's a slimline box now. They don't tend to do the big fat ones anymore. They've got that sorted out. And what have we got in here? I've got the box first sealed very nicely, so take that off. It's a plain black lid. If you're interested, the outside of the box does have miniatures in. It only has the bad guys, the good guys on the underside, which I probably could have shown you, but I didn't. And then we've got on top, we have a load of miniatures. So you've seen all these. This sprue has got the big wolfy thing on it, the head bad guy by the looks of things, a big axe I can see there. This is really freaky. I'd do a little photo shot. I don't know whether it'll come out in that photo shot, but these two sprues are the same and they're stacked like that. And then when you look at it, when you open it, look at them and tell me whether they did your eyes in, because they're kind of stacked slightly off centre and it looks like they're blurred, like you're looking at a slightly blurred photo, but of course you're not, and it's just your eyes, and your eyes are like, ooh, what's going on? But yeah, so that was quite entertaining. But there we go. That is those, and then we have another guy here. I can't remember what he's called. I should have done some more revision before going out to unpack it. But there's one of the other villains at the piece, and then the heroes. You can tell that the heroes, because they're in this sort of slightly whiter plastic. It's kind of taupe colour, I think. And they're the heroes. They don't actually look like enough pieces there to make all the heroes, but I'm sure they do. But I will report back how they go. Hello, this is future me interrupting past me, telling you all about Cursed City. Except, of course, to you, this is slightly less in the past me, because I'm still in the past, but at the time I was in the future. But enough about that. I want to talk about how I assembled the miniatures. It went fairly well, I think. They are quite tricky, as you can see from this first picture. Some of the pieces are slightly nuts. They're very thin, very slender, and they fit together quite carefully. You have to be quite careful how you orient them, which wasn't my favourite thing to do. And they did occasionally feel a little bit like one of those 3D jigsaw puzzles that you're trying to do, and you have to carefully rotate the pieces. They are fittable entirely without glue, which is really good, although that said, for one of the models I did use a little bit of glue, because I say that you kind of have to orient the pieces, and sometimes they're just where you press them in and they kind of just gravity holds them in, and when you're trying to then put in other piece, they fall out. So you kind of, I did actually in one piece just use a bit of glue. That was for the vampire hanging off the column. Because it was just easier that way. The models are fantastic. They look amazing. I've put together 4 of the heroes, I think, and then some of the villain pieces too. And in the main, they go very well. I'm not very good at putting together models. They are quite complicated. Don't start with the first one if you're not that confident of doing models. The witch hunter type character is really tricky to put together. I found he has actually, the pieces do actually go together quite nicely, but you do have to really kind of get your 3D spatial awareness head on them, which is where I fall down on assembling these miniatures. So I wouldn't start with him. Start with one of the simpler ones. The priest lady is fairly simple, and the other warrior lady is pretty simple too. And actually, in actual fact, the Knothi Hunter isn't too bad either. The villains were pretty good. The Radakar goes together very well, although but I did have to use glue, as I said, on the vampire one. But they are all non. You don't need glue. You do need yourself a good pair of clippers. But on the whole, I give these, for ease of rating, I'm not sure. If really easy was 10 out of 10. I'd say most of the models are an 8, and a couple of ones I've done are probably a 5. There's nothing too horrible. They're much, much easier to put together than the recent Blood Bowl miniatures. And then you've got one of these little bits of cardboard that goes up, trying to put in a sort of blood stuff. And then inside the box, everything is laid out. Now I have had a little route around, so that may not have been exactly how it was laid in here. We've got lots of bases, loads of slotted bases. I noticed that a lot of them are just pegs, so I'm expecting the assembly to do with pegs. There are a few with slidey gaps as well, and a lot of them are just peg holes. We've got a bag of the dice. We've got loads of the D6s, which are probably most of us won't use because we've got better alternatives. And then we have the kind of bespoke Blackstone. Well, we've got a D12, but then there's a load of bespoke dice for the attacking and things with the criticals and the successes on them and the failures. So there's D8, 2D12, 2D8s, and 2D6 in there, and differing colours. There's a big base for one of the big guys in there too, and then under here we've got have a look at that in a second. We've got the manuals and stuff. There's 2 little slips of paper. Interestingly, one of them is in errata for Dagenai Holdenstock. Presumably he was too tall. I don't know. I'm not sure what the problem was with him. But yeah, there's something obviously gone wrong somewhere. They had to put an errata in. And there's a little advert. You always get an advert for a book, which I'm never going to read. And in here you've got a load of cards. You can see an empowerment weapon, ether shape, sharpened edge, increase the damage values on this hero's melee type weapons attack actions by +1/+0, and then it says cost 4 realmstone points. So at the bottom it's a little black bar actually says more clearly what it does. So maybe you could slip it under your character sheet. You don't have to read all that, but it tells you what it does. And there's a few other cards in there. We'll have a look at those in a second. And then this bit is probably the piece of resistance. This bit here. Or maybe this bit's the piece of resistance. What's left underneath this here? There's a load of plastic bags. Can't beat a plastic bag. Interestingly, none of the non-see-through ones that you've got in Blackstone Fortress. So there's a big cellophane wrapped load of boards, really, and they look fab. Oh, that's kind of exciting. That's sort of make most of us slightly moist at looking at. There are just this is that lovely day-night dial, which is kind of central to the game and how the game mechanic works, which it actually looks so much better than it did in the preview. So I can guarantee you'll be very excited to see that. It's really good. There's like a stormcasty symbols on tokens there, and there's some kind of shadowy I don't know what undeady type tokens there. It's very deeply thematic and atmospheric. I really like that. So I'll just take the cellophane of that off camera, I think. So breaking down the rules package, you've got to read this first rule book. It's pretty hefty. So it's 38 pages, which is not huge, but it's not light either. I mean, if it's just like you've got to read this first. I'm not sure if you've got to read the whole thing before you start, but as an introduction, you've got the components, the hero models, the hostile models, and then you've got some combat tutorials which presumably going to explain to you how you play, and then it says what you've got to do to get ready to play, and then you've got a whole turn page that takes up 11 pages. So you've got the journey phase, the destiny phase, initiative phase. They've all explained this in Nick Payton's video. Then you've got hero activations, and there's various things on hero activations. Abilities, rerolls, enemy models, weapon actions, reactions, inspiration rolls, quite a lot of stuff there. Then you've got a whole lot of information. 5 pages, included in that 10 pages, it's 5 pages of hostile group activations as well. And then you've got Journey's End, which presumably is all the stuff you do afterwards, a bit like when we went to Precipice in Blackstone Fortress. And then at the end of the book has some journey types in it: hunt journeys, scavenge journeys, decapitation journeys. I'm not sure I'll be signing up for one of those, and deliverance journeys. And he explains how to set them up. It's interesting. There's a setup as exploration deck, adding board tiles to the battlefield, and driven off, which is vaguely interesting. And in the back is a reference, and you can see they've got a standard reference here. We can see reference to things like curse, disease, fatigue, stunned and trapped, ailments, buried. That's a pretty significant ailment to me. I think all those other things are ailments because that's at this bottom of this column, and then there's on that column there. So this is buried. Of all the things, I mean, I wouldn't want to be cursed. I wouldn't want to be diseased, but buried seems pretty final. Perhaps it's not. We'll see. It says see page 33. You've got some basic hostile actions, and you've got an events table. Destiny denied: do not make a destiny roll at the end of the start of the next turn. A destiny fulfilled: so there's destiny denied if you get a 1, if you get a 12. After the destiny's roll, moved all discarded destiny dice to the available destiny dice section of the Sky Vessel board. Nice. So that is, it'd be guaranteed you roll all 6 separate dice then, wouldn't you? But that is the rule book. So it's hopefully well laid out. I remember Blackstone Fortress trying to learn it. It was a little bit of going back from one to the other. Hopefully they've streamlined it a little bit. There is another book here, which is the Quest book. Which is pretty exciting. That does have some reference on here. It's got some things about crises and spending inspiration points. There's actually loads of entries in here. Now they're the crises. So there's loads of entries, like a table of crises, and then deliverance journeys, decapitation journeys, scavenge maps, all laid out. I'm going through it backwards. So that's for scavenge journeys. You've got hunt maps. So they basically have different maps for each of the type of journey that you're undertaking. And then there are various quests. So you've got Ulfar in Peril, the Ulfar in Peril quest, starting the quest. So the Ulfar in Peril quest is the first quest in the story of Ulfar. The heroes recently freed from the city jail embark on a quest to destroy Radakur forever. Little do they realise what lies in store for them as they are fresh to the horrors of the cursed city. So that's kind of like your basic where you start quest, and then I guess it will build up from there. I don't know too much about that yet. You've got, this book also has some descriptions of the agents of defiance, which is basically the characters you're going to play, and there's the funky map which appears on the website there in there as well. So it all looks pretty good. Denizens of Darkness, you've got Torgulus the Chamberlain, Gorslav the Gravekeeper, all the bad guys, Radakur the Wolf, Vicross Bloodborne, lots of bad guys to look out for, a little bit of background stuff as well, and a map. There's a map for you to look at. So that's the quest book, but breathe the rule book first, then you've got the quest book. You've got the first quest to go on. There is a rather nice envelope which is very inviting to open until you read the back, and it says do not open until the final assault decapitation journey has been completed. So perhaps a decapitation journey is to kill one of the big bad guys, literally cut off the head of the evil. And when you finally get to the end, so these are your, I can't remember what they're called in Blackstone Fortress, my mind's gone completely blank, but this is when you finally finish, you can get something exciting and interesting, which hopefully we can then take forward into new expansions if this game is good. And then for those of you who it matters, you have got some Age of Sigmar War Scrolls, and finally you've got the all-important how to build your miniatures. Looking forward to doing that. So that's what was in that pack. So the little packet of cards has all sorts of exciting things in it. It has a big deck of these, which I can't remember what they are, but a big deck of those. That's the thing with the weapon on it. So I'm guessing they're like items maybe you can find inside the deck. You can, there's lots of them. You perhaps draw them or perhaps win them in the off season. You've got a Ulfkhan in Peril card, which has fear and influence, and then different symbols. Those different symbols, I think I've seen tokens for those on the cards, and they can go in there. So you've got one for Radakar, one for the Van Outen triplets, one for the Chamberlain, one for the Gravekeeper, and one for the Watch Captains. I guess when they're out, they go in there. Maybe when they're dead, perhaps. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, they're not dead. I don't know. Maybe they start all field and then you take them off, or maybe you add them when you take them out. Why? Who knows? We've also got in here the character card. So we've got Octron, Glim, Scry, and they've been over that on the Warhammer Quest page. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but you've obviously got the space for your dice when you roll them. You've got your stats, your move 3 or 4 when you're running. You've got your weapons, so he's got a Hex Brand, 1+ weapons and melee, just uses the D8, does 1 or 2 damage, and then the Hollow Stare is a dual type weapon, and that's got I think it means you can fire it and hit people with it, and that's got a D12 and a D8 with it, so that's got more chance of success and does 1 or 3 damage on a critical hit. And then they've got some unique abilities, so he can use his Grave Sand Tincture, his Hollow Stare, his Withering Hex, and his Tomes of Death. So all sorts of different things there. His Tomes of Death sound good fun, but probably not a good night read. So you've got the Cleona Zeitengale, who's got a thrice blessed mace and some Heaven's Bolt stilettos, big shoes she hits people with. You've got the Dwarf Holdenstock, Dagonai Holdenstock. It's got a belaying axe, or maybe a belaying axe, and a harpoon gun. The axe looks pretty tasty. It's a 1+. It rolls 2d12. It's got a damage of 3. That's pretty tasty. The Galario Van Outen has got Noblesse, which is 3+ action. It's got dual. They've all got various things. I'm not going to read them all out. They've all got various things, but they're good card stock. And then there's one of these for each of the bad guys, which has the Ulfram Watch, the Bat Swarms, the Corpse Rats. So this end we've got the bad guys, Radakar, the Wolf, and they have an empowered side. So you have this side is with the daytime, and then night when things are bad. They go to the empower side where things get worse. So, for example, his damage goes up from being a D12, D8 attack, doing 3 or 4 damage, goes up to a 4 or 5 damage and being a 2d12 attack, or not 2d12, but the 12-sided dice with the critical symbols on. We've got a lot of these small cards, which I'm not quite sure what they are. They might be for the initiative tracker, but you've got various things for Sigmar on it. I've seen a token for as well, and that's the sort of curse breakery symbol. I'm not sure. My law is poor. So various stormcast symbols. Maybe they come and help or something. I don't know. And then you've got various other deathy type counters here, which tie into the game somehow. Well, they have. I've just realised these things are all double-sided. So what am I doing? Now that's that one. There goes. So yeah, so there's 4 cards which are I think all kind of stormcasty, and then there's these ones which are all kind of deathy. Yeah, very much kind of Nagashi and deathy. So maybe they must go into the game somehow. I'm not sure how. And then you've got discovery cards here. So these are actually the treasures. So I'm still not quite sure what these are. So these are the treasures. So you've got a discovery, a realm stone, discovery, a potion of coagulated vitality, or a crisis. So you've discovered a crisis, then you have to look on the table to see what terrible thing has befallen you, or maybe a good thing has befallen you. Discovery, treasure, a glow sand, hourglass. So there's various things in here. There's quite a lot of realm stones. One of my slight bugbears about Blackstone Fortress is you spent ages doing it, you found it, and every other one was Architect, which is a bit flat. So there's some trait cards which go with your character card. So you've got the traits. I think that's meant to fit kind of under there like that. So this Dagnar Holdslock is a stalwart. He's carried on Overlord, and he's a trade Commodore, and he's large. But they're mostly large. Looking at these, but they all have different things. So there's a blade human soldier, there's a executioner, and a stalwart and a blade. So these traits are double-sided. There's executioner traits, stalwart traits, and they're kind of leveling up. So when you're level 0, you don't have any traits. When you're level 1, you get quick reflexes if you're an executioner, but you get indomitable if you're stalwart, which kind of makes sense. So that's those. Okay, I decided I might as well open this deck. So this has some sort of empowerment. This hero's melee weapons are damaged. I'm guessing these are things you can add to your ability. Empowerment armor. It costs 3 realmstone points, and this hero is vitality D8. So it adds different things. And these are all. So they are all empowerments. I'm guessing are good things. Bonus you, and these are all encounters. So this is what I think you draw these cards, and depending on what level you are, you get. So if you're level 0, you get 3 bat swarms. If you're on this one, if you're level 1, you get 1 Kozarg Night Guard. If you're level 5, this one's very boring. You get 6 bat swarms. This one you get 4 corpse rats and 2 bat storms. Or if you're level 4, you get 1 Torgilius, 2 corpse rats and 2 bat swarms. So they're all various different things. And then there are also here some exploration cards, which I assume is when you're doing an explore kind of thing. You probably get different. You draw these and you get different rune tiles. And then finally, there's different rune tiles on them, you see. And then finally, we have a load of these, which I think, if I remember correctly, are kind of when you die. So that big board packet then has 5 things in it, 5 boards in it, and some of them are got rooms in, so I'll just open those out for you. And they are very similar card stock to, I think different to BSF, they're shiny, so different to Blackstone Fortress, they're shiny like they remind me of more of the Silver Tower and Shadows over Hammerhall Quest boxes. They are much shinier, they're grids as well rather than hexes for which we got for Blackstone Fortress, but they're really nice. I mean, they're good. You wouldn't expect any different really, would you? But they are good quality floor plan tiles. Have been the type have been in this game sort of game for a very long time, but they really are quite lovely, and they really are quite double-sided too. So lots of variation stuff. We've seen those spoiled on the community page, so I won't go too much into that. This one has got a few tokens in it, which I won't press out because I don't have to tie them up. And then this one has some similar tokens across the top. You can see there, so you've got sort of some spears and some. This has got a sort of trap thing on it on that side, which I think I can't remember what they pertain to these things here. So we've got the trapped, yes, on my side, and on your side that's cursed. You can see there at the top, but they're cursed, and on the back they've got trapped. And there's these funny sort of gold and silver things. I don't really know what they are. They're triangle pieces. They're probably presumably explained in the rulebook. I don't know what they are off the top of my head. And then there's some more tokens there for being diseased. And then finally you've got this lovely board, which I showed you at the top. But it's got magic. So yes, you've got this beautiful day-night dial, which is double-sided. I think it's the same both sides. But it is lovely and incredibly atmospheric, and you almost could put it on the wall and put some get a little cheap pair of clock hands and use it as a clock. It's really great. Almost, I think it's up to 10, so it wouldn't quite work. But it's a really, it speaks for itself really. I mean, you kind of know, if you're watching this video, you probably already know you're interested. I haven't played the game. I knew it was going to look great, because these kind of Games Workshop games always do look great, and their production values are brilliant, and the look and feel of the game is brilliant, and the miniatures are going to be second to none. We know that. How's it going to play? Blackstone Fortress was fun, had a few limitations. There's always a problem with these dungeon crawlers. You've always got the limitation of not having a games master. The game is for 1 to 4 players, I think, and so you can play it on your own, but is it going to be exciting? Is the AI going to be enough? Or is it just going to be about the look and feel? I mean, there's something to be said for playing great games that are just getting together with your mates, having a bit of a laugh with beautifully designed figures. That is definitely a valid and entertaining experience. But if you're looking for some serious gaming, will it provide that? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. I might play this solo. It's Easter holidays, so getting out to record solo games unless I come out in the middle of the night isn't going to be that easy. But I can't meet Pete till the 17th of May. We'll have some Warhammer Underworld stuff to play, almost certainly first. But maybe when we can start meeting people indoors, maybe we get a couple of other people into the garage, and we'll start playing Blackstone Fortress. We won't start playing Blackstone Fortress. Maybe we'll start playing Cursed City, Warhammer Quest Cursed City. Let us know what you think. Let us know whether you're going to get it. I know there's some issues potentially around supply. Obviously, the world's crazy turned upside down at the moment. boxes may not be where they're meant to be, but it's not going to be a sells out immediately and never comes back type deal that Games Workshop sometimes get lumbered with or lumber us with. This, if it does sell out, which I think it probably will sell out quite quick, it is coming back, so don't panic. You will be able to get it, and please don't go to scalpers. Just I mean, it's totally up to you really, but people who scalp just really the hobby of everybody really, so please be patient, don't go to scalpers. Easy for me to say because I've been very fortunate to be sent one, but as you know, we did send our copy of Indomitus off because we were never going to use that because we were concerned that people might scalp, so we gave it away. We are going to play this, so I'm saying I'm not going to give this one away, but hopefully you enjoyed this video, and please come back for more Warhammer Underworlds content. Please come back for more Warhammer Quest content when we can finally make it, and we'll see you soon, maybe in the Cursed City, almost certainly in the Chasm. Until then, bye.